Cory Dickman, back in studio, back with his bets. Let me tell you something. He is white hot. And I keep telling him, man, I said, this whole segment, this whole all-in bets thing, formerly known as Benjamin Bets, is
formerly known, yep,
skyrocketing right now.
Boom.
Yeah.
If Pete, if this show, if All In Bets was traded on the stock market, we would be like the US dollar right now. I mean, just shooting through the roof. Maybe we should be traded. Like my little note card today.
I do like your note card. Yeah. It's better than you looking at your phone.
It is better than me looking at my phone. I feel like a late night talk show host with my.
Oh yeah, you can throw it, but then you'd have to get up and get it.
Yeah,
that would rest your picture on.
That would be a problem. Have you ever wanted to be a late night talk show host, Pete? I could see you doing a show.
I thought years ago. Years ago, that's something I really wanted to do, but now
here you are,
kind of milk toast. So
sure.
Stay away from that.
All right. Hey, you ready?
Yeah, I'm fired up. I mean, first of all, we got to do a review.
We'll do a review. We always got to start with our review just to let our listeners know. You should be following along with us, so you should already know these things. But in case you missed last week's episode, we'll start in college because that's a nice place to start. 2-0-1 last week. This was our first push in college football. We'll start with Louisville. We had them at plus 10.5 against Clemson. You know what happened in that game, Pete?
What happened?
Clemson got destroyed. Louisville won outright. If you were following us and you were like, I like what Cory's saying, but let's take it further, you want a bag against that in that game. But we're conservative here. It's about our win-loss record. So we took the spread plus 10.5, but Louisville slaughtered them. Then our UCLA Bruins, Pete, not anybody else's, but our Bruins, plus 6.5 against Nebraska. What happened? Do you know what happened?
They won.
Scotty, you got a clip for us real quick? There's some inspiration here.
I have one thing to say to those non-believers. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
I love Rudy T. Never underestimate, Pete, the heart of a champion.
I thought you were a Trailblazers fan.
Well, in this case, Rudy put it straight. UCLA, Pete, may not be playing for any sort of championship, but all they do is cover spreads, and they have the heart of a champion.
Well,
so
they've won. They beat Rutgers.
And
they just beat.
And they beat Nebraska by 7. You could have had them at minus 6.5. Yeah. That probably would have been plus 900. Again, if you were rolling with us, you made a lot more money. But again, it's about our record. So UCLA covers, awesome. And then the game that had me the most worried, your face said it all. You didn't even want me to pick this game, but it's my Baylor Bears, and this is a rivalry game. It was a night game against TCU. Baylor wins it on a game-winning field goal, Pete, which is incredible. We did get the push. It was plus 3, so that's fine. But more importantly, Baylor gets a win. Yes. We're on a 3-game winning streak. Good job, Baylor. That's probably the last time we're going to take the Bears this year.
Dude, it was a dicey deal.
It was a dice. Every time we take the Bears, it's a stressful game. The last time was Colorado.
My whole thing is for you as a fan and anybody out there watching this, if you have a team that you're rooting for, I don't understand betting on them because I just don't. Unless you know something about the quarterback that we all don't, okay, go for it on that regard. But
sure,
yeah, I don't understand that. You already have enough interest in the game.
You're right, and I know, and that's the scary part. That's why I shouldn't bet Seahawks games. In reality, we should have just gone over, which I think it was like 60 points or something, which would have been easily covered. TCU Baylor, but we went with the plus 3 and got the push, so we'll take it. I will say Baylor did have a 7-point lead there, Pete, towards the end of the game, and TCU went down and scored and tied it. I thought we were going to go 3-0. So to wrap it up, we went 2-0-1. Let me flip my card over. That gets our record at 13-7-1, which you know what that percentage is?
What?
It's about 63%.
That is really, really good.
We could move to Vegas and make a living right now if we were doing this. So
13-7-1 on the season.
13-7-1, and that was with the 0-3 start. And you told me not to do this anymore.
I didn't say that. I said stay away from college.
You did say that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I went 0-3. I probably would have said it too. So we're cooking right now.
Yeah,
we
are.
Okay, before we go into this week's, we got to talk about the NFL.
I got people texting me about like Cory's bets and how they're winning. That felt great. If I get people texting me this week about Cory's bets and how we're losing,
We should have a Ravid based in like Louisiana and North Carolina, places where you actually can place these bets. If you live here in our lovely, beautiful state of Texas, you may have to call a friend or two that live in other places. But
Cory's going to go out like Al Pacino's character in Two for the Money.
In Two for the Money, that is how that's going to happen. All right, NFL. You ready to talk NFL real quick?
Of course, yeah.
So last week, see, Pete, I get my cards mixed up here. What?
We're doing NFL first?
Well, we're recapping, or do you want me to just go into
recap? Let's recap.
We're still recapping. We're still recapping.
Okay.
NFL, we went 2-1 last week. Ravens -9.5 against the Broncos. They slaughtered them. Wasn't even close. We did miss, and this is the last time we're picking Cowboys. I know we have a big Texas base here with this show. I can't keep rolling with you guys. This is a disaster. It's a dumpster fire. It's all the things that the Cowboys are. They can't even get an over correctly. They're throwing interceptions. They're fumbling the ball. Pete, this should have been the easiest over at 51.5. They still ended at like 48 points, even with all the turnovers and wildness. But we missed it.
I never rule out like a bizarre turnaround, but right now they suck.
They
terrible. Suck on fire.
I'm not picking this, but I would roll with some Philadelphia Eagles this week against the Cowboys. But that's a whole different story. And then the one that mattered the most, the mortgage bet, squeaked it by, Pete, but we'll take it. Seahawks
doesn't matter.
+6.5. They actually lost the game in overtime to a touchdown, which almost gave me a heart attack. I suck because it's my team, but we still hit the tees, so that was nice. And then the Colts +10, who actually had a lead in this game, Pete. And then the Vikings came all the way back. The Colts scored a little garbage thing at the end, which helped us here. But so the Colts covered +10. So we hit the mortgage. You paid your mortgage. You're not kicked out of your place, which is good. That makes our mortgage 5-1 this year on the mortgage bet. Overall, 10 wins, 11 losses in the NFL. So we're climbing we get the shovel. We're climbing out of the hole, Pete. So we're not quite out of it yet, but we're almost back to 500 in the NFL.
That's impressive.
So not bad.
No, not bad at all.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I keep forgetting which side my card's on. All right. College. What's the biggest game of the week, Pete? Do you know?
Oh, for me, it's Colorado and Texas Tech.
For you, it's Colorado and Texas Tech?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why is it Colorado and Texas Tech?
Well, because I'm hyper focused on the Big 12.
That's true. Okay.
It's a real opportunity for Coach Prime in Colorado. But go ahead, you tell me the big game.
Okay, well, that's your big game.
I can be a little my
The real big game of the weekend is Alabama versus LSU, Pete. Yeah. This is a play-in game. Did you know the college football has a play-in game now for the playoff?
We have a whole other conversation about why this game is horseshit.
Well, this game, it matters huge. Yeah. There's a legacy on the line. There's a coach's job probably on the line. And Alabama wins this game, Pete, they're in the playoff, right? I mean, they got to win, 2 more? But they're in if they win this game. They're going to win this game. -2.5, going down to death. I know LSU, and I get all this stuff. I have family that live outside of New Orleans. I hear you. But Bama -2.5 wins by a field goal. There's got to be redemption here with this Alabama team, Pete, or it's just going to be ripped apart, and I just can't see that happening. So give me -2.5 Alabama. Let's go. Win it by field goal.
I like that.
You don't.
I know I do.
I can tell.
I do, but I'm so. It's a whole other thing. I'm kind of sour on Alabama because I like Nick Saban, and with him not being there, I could care less about Alabama. Now I just feel like they're an overrated program.
They are overrated. They're vulnerable. Clearly, they've lost games they should have won. They've not blown out teams they should have blown out. I think we had them picked against the South Carolina team, or I forget earlier, and they let us down in that game. But I just feel like they're gonna win this because they want to keep it interesting. That is because if they don't win this, they're done, right? They obviously have no pathway to the playoff. They win this, they're pretty much in as long as they win out. So I think Alabama, they're just gonna keep it interesting. College football is a soap opera, Pete, and in every good soap opera, you have to have kind of the villain. Alabama's got to be there. So -2.5.
All right,
field goal. All right. We've talked about the great state of Utah before, right?
Yeah,
we have. You've never been there, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
You've been there several times. Okay, well, I lived there for a little bit. You think our amazing community with the LDS people out there are so friendly and nice. You get them on a weekend, Pete, when BYU plays Utah. dude, they're stabbing people in the streets. They're running people over with their cars. You forget that they're Mormon at this point.
Salt Lake or Provo riot police out there in riot.
Oh,
gear.
riots and it is nasty, Pete. You do not want to go to downtown Salt Lake when BYU travels to Utah. This game, it's a 2.5 point spread. BYU undefeated.
Yeah.
Like leading the Big 12 here. Give me BYU minus 2.5 at Utah. I think Utah's in shambles. I know they're going to get up for this game. Yeah. This is their Super Bowl. Every Ute fan, they're going to converge onto Salt Lake, and it's up in the mountains, and it's going to be, and it's crazy. BYU's going to go in, Pete. They're going to be calm, cool, and collected, and they're going to win this game by a field goal and move on as they move towards the playoff.
Utah plays great defense, dude.
They
that
do,
could
but
be a problem for you.
They're not scoring the ball. Right?
No,
their offense is like
they're terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I
think their quarterback this week, I think, is still a game time decision.
He still is that Cam? Yeah. Is that Cam Rising? Is that Cam Stewart?
Done.
I mean Cam Rising.
Cam Rising's done. Yeah, they got Zach, what's his name? Yeah, Isaiah Wilson. And there's another dude too.
It's in my ear here. Isaiah Wilson. They're gonna go. He's gonna throw 3 picks. BYU wins this going away.
All right.
Going away, but we'll take it 2.5. All right, Pete. Last game for the NFL or the college slate. You already know where this is going.
Where?
You already know. If you don't know, Pete, you're not paying attention. Do you know who Brendan Sullivan is?
No.
Transfer quarterback. He's making his second start for the University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes. Okay. Do you know who they're playing this week?
I don't know.
This is a rematch of the 1986 Rose Bowl. The last time these two teams played, Iowa at UCLA. I can't believe, Pete, you didn't know.
I'll tell you who the quarterback was. Chuck Long.
Chuck Long for Iowa. They ended up losing that game. It was like 47.
Tom Ramsey might have been the quarterback for UCLA.
For UCLA. Well, Tom Ramsey's grandson is playing linebacker for the Bruins. No, he's not. I have no idea. Pete, do you know are you looking at the line right now for this?
No.
Just take a guess. What do you think it is? Iowa at UCLA. What do you think it is?
Iowa minus 2.5.
Minus 2.5. Iowa minus 6.5. You're giving me 6.5 for the Bruins again. This is a slap in the face. I don't know what Vegas is doing. They're not paying attention. The Bruins have not covered the spread once this season, Pete. Every other game, they're 3-5. Who cares? They have the heart of a champion. Rudy T said it. Plus 6.5. UCLA. I mean, what are we doing?
Never underestimate.
Take out a second mortgage on your home and put it on this game because UCLA, they cover. All they do is cover.
I think every time, Deshaun Foster, he keeps watching that video of him, like his first press conference of the season, which he was like totally awful in.
Yeah.
And it motivates him.
Because
the media had it out for him after his first availability, but now he's rocking.
No, he's rocking, and they just cover. So will they win? I'm not going that far, but UCLA is going to cover plus 6.5. So just recap: Bama minus 2.5, BYU minus 2.5. UCLA plus 6.5, and we're going to keep rolling, Pete, and just up our percentages here. You what did you call it? Pour it on, or you use a term as we like pulling ahead, or you use some term that you like to use?
I mean, like, no, you're pouring it on.
We're pouring it on. Yeah. We're pouring it on. So, all right, okay, ready? Wrapping up NFL.
Let's go, dude.
Okay. Any final thoughts on college before we go to NFL? Any final ones?
I like Utah in that game.
Wow.
So we'll find out.
Oh my gosh.
But that's you asked.
Don't put money.
You're the expert, but I like Utah in that game. I feel like BYU is in for some kind of a bumpy ride at some point, and this is probably that bumpy ride. And the fact that it's a rivalry game and Utah's defense is good,
sure,
I think they could steal it.
Let me be straight. Because this is a undefeated 9-0 or ranked 9th in the country team against a Utah team that is just laying down. They're laying down in the dirt, ready to be buried. This should be minus 7.5 BYU, right? This should be BYU going away. So I understand it will be a dogfight.
The key for BYU is for their quarterback, the guy Jake Retzloff, to just punch Utah in the mouth early.
Yeah.
Go downfield, get a couple scores quick. Yep. Then Utah has no chance. If you can get up on these guys by 10 points or more, it's over.
Yeah, and Pete, Provo's like 30 miles away from this place, so they're going to have a big crowd there. Yeah, I feel good. But I did ask you, so I opened Pandora's box. Okay, NFL. You ready?
Of course.
Here we go. The car's back, okay? Super Bowl champ Derek Carr. No, he didn't win a Super championship. He is playing against the Falcons this week, Pete. New Orleans is getting 3.5 points. This is a divisional game. Atlanta's playing well. Kirk Cousins. Did you watch the quarterback documentary on Netflix?
He seems like a
you didn't
guy.
watch that with Patrick Mahomes? And
no.
My wife got into that with me, and she by the end of it, she was like all in over Kirk Cousins.
He's the man.
Yeah, I think she kind of forgot about me for a minute. And was like, man, Kirk's a nice guy. But New Orleans plus 3.5 with their quarterback back. They're going to cover this.
They got a brand new coach this week, too.
And a brand new coach.
Yeah.
This is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
It just is. It's a divisional game. New Orleans, again, is going the wrong way. Atlanta's going the right way. But 3.5, give that to me. Give me Falcons plus 3.5.
Okay. Well, Falcons plus 3.5?
I'm sorry. New Orleans plus 3.5. Okay. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no
New
problem.
Orleans plus 3.5.
I agree. Dan Ingham was in here yesterday saying the opposite.
Oh.
But I agree with you. I think New Orleans gets the new coach bump, and I think that they cover.
That's how this always happens, right?
Uh-huh.
Dennis Allen, is he the one out? He got fired?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dennis. And if Dan picked Atlanta, then we're definitely going New Orleans. Okay. Vikings versus the soon-to-be relegated Jacksonville Jaguars. Vikings minus 6.5. You're going to give me a touchdown. Give me the touchdown. Give me Vikings minus 14.5.
Okay.
This is going away. Trevor Lawrence probably is not playing in this game, and I don't think it really would matter. They were down to your Eagles last week? 22-0? 23-0?
22-0 They came all the way back.
Well, almost. Your coach kind of let them come all the way back. But this is not Vikings. They're going to destroy Lawrence. Even if he's in this game, they're going to rush him from 9 different angles. 6.5 is being very, very gracious. Give me Vikings minus 6.5, Pete, in this game.
Where did you say that game was again?
This is I think this is in Jacksonville. Is this in Jacksonville? Where's our stats guy, Cam Stewart? Does that matter, Pete? I mean, do you think Jacksonville has like a home?
Well, I don't know.
Home field advantage here? I mean, does that matter to you?
A little bit, yeah.
It does? It's in Jacksonville, Pete.
Okay,
but yeah, I mean, come on. The Vikings, they travel. Defense travels.
Defense does travel.
All right, Pete, wrapping it up. The final thing, your mortgage. What's important? You got to live somewhere.
You got to live somewhere.
We got Cam Stewart's Patriots.
Oh, boy.
Traveling to the mighty Chicago Bears.
Cam's really excited for Caleb Williams and Drake May squaring off.
I bet. You know what's going to happen in this game, Pete?
Cam show, 11 o'clock Central every day. Go ahead.
Every day. Not many points are going to be scored. I'm sorry. Maybe the Pats win this game. I can't tell. No idea. The Bears up and down. They haven't recovered since the Hail Mary, if we're being honest. They're 38.5 is the over-under. We're going to juice this up because it's a 2-team tease like we always do. We're adding 4.5 points or adding 5 points this week. Under 43.5 is what we're getting this at. Come on, good. Pete. Adding 5. It's minus 110 if we do this, but I just liked adding the half points. I don't like the push. I don't want to tie.
Okay.
So we're going to do minus 110, which is almost money in, money out. Close. So under 43.5 is what we get this at. That's a lot of points for these two teams. And then we go to the other side of
what we got next
somewhere. The New York Jets versus the Arizona Cardinals. Pete. Over. So the over under is 46.5.
Yep.
We're gonna take the over here, but because we're teasing it down, we get it at 41.5 over. Rodgers, he has that thing with Adams right now. Okay. Yeah. They connected last week. Garrett Wilson, he catches every ball thrown to him. Breece Hall's just waiting for a breakout game, and it's probably going to be this one against a Cardinals defense that's terrible. And Kyler has let us down twice this year as the garbage time scoring quarterback.
He has, and that's supposed to be his marquee move.
So I'm not going to say that, but Arizona might just be ahead in this game. 41.5 feels too low. They will get over that point. So that's our 2-team tease to pay your mortgage. Pair this together. Pats at Bears under 43.5. Jets versus Arizona over 41.5. Pay your mortgage. Get it done. Rip the card up.
Give me the rest.
I just gave you the rest.
Recap it.
Recap it. Okay.
I got New Orleans.
I just ripped my card up.
I told you not to do that. That was a warning.
New Orleans plus 3.5 against the Falcons, divisional game.
Okay.
And then Vikings minus 6.5 versus the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
And that is how we're going to go undefeated in NFL. 3-0 in college. We're just going to keep piling it on, man. We got to stay above 60%. We got to get there in the NFL. College, we got to stay above it. So that's what's happening.
As far as for marketing materials, though, we're just going college 63%. I think
college 60, and then in the little subtext down below NFL. NFL. But hey, you're paying your mortgage. We're just going to say that. We're going to say college 63%, mortgage basically 70%, and then we're not going to mention the.
I remember when I was a kid. I think we were in college. We were gambling degenerates, and we would watch this guy. I think his name was Stu Feiner, and he'd be like, "The 1-2 turn 2."
The
like,
1-2 turn 2. What does that mean?
He was the one to turn to.
Oh, he was the one to turn to.
It was amazing.
Oh, I want to steal that from him.
Cory Dickman is now the 1-2 turn 2. All right, we'll see you next week. Trust me. I feel like we're going to have some good results. We're coming back. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovakics rolls on right after this.
It's the Pete